Okay, let's give this another test. And I think I'll just go into what I want to do here. We'll do a couple of photos. This is the Harry Gruyaert India book, obviously by Thomas Hudson. And this not being like exactly right is frustrating me. I used to be a real estate photographer, which I think is like saying you were a wedding photographer in the 70s or 80s. It's not something you really talk about. But anyway, I kind of want to see how the audio is going to work, and I don't need to do anything, but I really want to be reading more photography books or looking at more photography books. So I've been buying these, and they've been just sitting on my shelf, which is not the best place for them to be. They should be open and being used. So you can see here in the first couple of pages, we've got this nice big book. It's got some text. And then this book also has extracts from this other book that's included in it. So I was looking at this last night, and this was this is the first page of this book, and I was sitting here contemplating it instead of just flipping through and sort of aesthetically enjoying the images, trying to understand why this image, right? As I've been putting together my own photo books, going through my own sort of process for editing and figuring out which photos I want to show. This is kind of a prime importance, very important spot in the book. It's the first image here. And I'm looking at this, and the thing that comes to me aesthetically at first as a photographer, well, I guess as a picture taker, I should say, and then we'll move on to photographer, because I think there's an important nuance or there should be an important nuance between those two. A camera user, a picture taker, and a photographer. Those are kind of three categories that I put depending on where I'm at, where my mind is in, or what state of mind I'm in. And from a camera user, I'm looking at this and I'm going like, oh, well, he missed the focus on the bird, and the foreground is completely out of focus. Why would he do that? And then the picture taker of mine goes, well, this guy's a magnum photographer. This guy's got a history and a knowledge, and he obviously has a book here, and so there's something more going on that I'm not getting. And so thinking it deeper as a photographer and as someone who's an aspiring book person, what does this mean? What does this first image of this book really mean? Since we obviously have an aesthetic technical quality here that, it's a nice image, but it's not great in the conventional sort of Instagram, banger sense type of thing. And so what is actually going on here? What's the purpose of this image? And so for me, the thing that stood out, I guess, two things. One is having that deep focus, focusing way in the background, is you're looking into the distance, right? You're focusing on something that's far away, which could be the future, right? You're focusing on the future. You're focusing on things that are not yet here. They're not close. And sort of bringing that time aspect into it, looking at things that are not present. We're looking at things that are in the future. We're forward looking. We're looking down the street. We're looking into the future. I can only say that so many times. So, and then the other thing is, of course, this mark here in the very top, which I assume is a bird. It could be, a piece of paper flying around that looks like a bird. It could be something else. But this sort of symbolizes to me the future outlook and aspirations of India sort of flying high. And that's the sort of, I guess, quick 10-minute superficial deeper look at this photograph that I came up with last night, is as the first image in this book. And this is a thick book, got a lot of pages here. And the first time I flipped through it, I was kind of going through it and not really understanding, what is the sequence, what is the meaning, why why is this important? And it made me realize I was looking at photographs in in a very superficial sort of, am I enjoying this photo? Is this photo tickling my brain in some ways? And the answer, I think, lies in looking at these longer and trying to figure out how the medium is being used to talk about different things about life and time and stuff. And this is just the first example of that, of deep focus to show that we're looking into the future, we're looking down the street, we're looking past the present, and then that bird up there showing that we have aspirations to flight, which is didn't India recently land a lander on the moon or something like that? Actually, I want to quickly look that up just to add that in here if it's true. Yeah, India, last September. The Chandrayaan, I think that's how you pronounce it, 3 mission landed on the moon. And so this could definitely be speaking to those future aspirations and that sense of flight. So anyway, I can only talk about something like that so long. And it's either the early morning or it's the night or the early evening. It's a very dark image. There's that brooding dark sense to it. And you're in the city and you have these power lines. There's little bits of color here, the yellows and the reds, but it has that sense of old and new, the power lines and the old buildings. Here's the second image. This is one that I haven't quite managed to analyze yet. I have to say that in the video it looks quite a bit better than in person, and I think that just might be the lighting that I have. But what do we see here? We see this bright blossom of light coming down, shimmering down onto the crowd of these. I think those are flower sellers, or it could be fabric. I've never been to India, so I don't know. But we can see there's bicyclists, and it's obviously this crowd of people, and it's a bit indistinct, but there's this light shining down onto the people, which combined with that first image about looking to the future and taking flight and like aspirations for becoming more than they currently are, moving into sort of a Western future. Not that Western future is the end all be all by any means, but that's sort of the one take on it, I would say. Obviously a lot less to say about this one than the previous one, but we can just kind of contemplate it and look at it and think in your mind about what this could mean. And one thing that I want to mention is so I did a philosophy major in college, and one of the first things when you start to get to upper division philosophy is they tell you that you need to take every argument that you're presented with and give it as much I'm gonna totally flub this, but as much oomph as possible, right? You have to be as forgiving as possible to the person who's arguing with you. You can't assume that the person you're speaking with or arguing with is arguing in bad faith. You have to assume that they are not articulating it in a way that you understand. And so you have to put yourself out there and say, and sort of remove your assumptions and say, okay, well, let's assume that the person who's I'm speaking with, in this case, the photographer, has something to say, and that it's important, and that the fault at first is going to be with me in how I understand the work, or how I understand the argument, or how I understand the text. The fault at first is never with the argument, is never with the text, is never with the other person. And so that's what I'm trying to do with photography here, because I've been through a few books recently and just don't understand what is going on at all. So I've realized I've reached the 10-minute mark here with this particular film. I like Dan Milner's idea of calling these films instead of videos. And so I'm going to end this here at 10 minutes. Thank you so much for watching and taking a look at these first two photos of the Harry Gruyaert India book. I hope to bring you more. Thank you.